Yo, what's up? I know you see it on the screen. This is some very, very, very big news. For all you college football fans, we finally have a release date. Summer 2024 is the release of the college football game. Um, yeah, man, it's time. We all been waiting for this since 14. Um, well, technically it'd be 11 years because 14, the games come out the year before. So like NCAA 11 came out in NCAA 10 because the season is the 2010, 2011, and so forth, so forth, and so forth. That's how the game's released for like Madden and college football, and I think NHL does it the same way. Um, I think 2K does it if I'm correct. Um, yeah, because 2K23 came out this year. All right. So anyway, enough about that. Let's get into the what we're here for. So let's go ahead and read this story. Michael Rothstein of ESPN, EA Sports to release college football game in summer 2024. Um, the return of EA Sports college football video game series now at the time of arrival, the summer of 2024. Um, so if you don't know, that's usually the timetable. That's usually how the games will come out. The college football game will come out like a month before Madden. Um, only and it was done that way because college football starts. Technically, the season starts before the real season of NFL because by that time, in like I think August and July, well, I think it's like August because that's still preseason for the NFL. Daryl Holt, EA Sports Vice President and General Manager, told ESPN in an interview the brand is going to launch EA Sports College Football at that time because of the enormous undertaking of creating the game from scratch. Ooh, creating it from scratch. That gives me some promise. That means they're going to hopefully they'll fix some stuff that's been wrong with the game, and hopefully they bring some stuff back. For them, it's not about rushing to market, but making sure the inaugural edition of what they plan to have as a yearly title of the standard. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with having yearly stuff. That's with the sports games. You have to do it yearly. But I mean, as long as they make it a good product, that's the best date for us to bring that game that we think is going to meet or exceed our player expectation and cover the breath, bread, breathed, breath. I've never seen that word like that. In scale of what we want in the game, excuse me. We're trying to build a very immersive college football experience. So this is the details. That looks good. It looks very realistic from what I'm looking at. Holt said rumor potential early days of release were conjecture and the release had not been delayed. He said there was a lot they wanted to work into the game and they had to start from square one. Yeah, I have no problem with that. This game has been gone. This game has been gone for over 10 years. They got to come back right. They can't half-ass it. They can't cut corners. They got to make sure this game is near perfection. I'm not asking for perfection. Perfection is impossible. But if it's near perfection and it's good gameplay and it's fun um, and it's not like the has like the cheesy mechanics like the later games had, I'm all good for it. We just don't want a college football version of Madden. That's what we don't want. Um, Holt said that included figuring out a way to use real college football players in the game. This is a change from when the brand announced the game was returning in February 2021. Wow, was it? Did they announce that last year? Okay. And the inner workings of name, image, and likeness (NIL) were still being worked out in the college athletes landscape. Back then, there were more unknowns about NIL. Um, so the thing about that is so the thing about this is going to it in my opinion I think it's going to limit the amount of teams you have because not every of all the 130 FBS teams, um, I don't think all them guys have NIL deals. So I'm assuming that putting them in the game will go into the NIL name, image, and likeness. So if you're going to put them in there, you got to pay them. It's going to be very tricky because the thing is, a lot of people don't use all the teams. If we're being realistic, you'll probably use your team, the school you root for, the school you went to. But most people, they're playing casual. They're going to pick like Alabama and Clemson and Florida and like the SEC schools in Ohio State and Michigan. You know what I'm saying? When they play against people, um, obviously when people do like the challenges and stuff and the dynasties and all that, um, you know, maybe then. But I mean, it's no point signing an NIL deal with the game if you're not going to really if you're not really going to be showing up. You know what I'm saying? NIL has opened avenues for college players to not be in the game, although it's unclear how the structure of facilitating that would happen. Yep. And EA source told ESPN that players will be compensated if right. They'll be compensated, but it all depends on the compensation is most likely going to be dependent on. I mean, I'm sure these guys are going to get like they're going to put like some kind of residuals in there. So I guess it depends on how often their game how often they show up. Um, Maybe it doesn't work really in a sports game because you'll never know how often you'll show up in a game because it all depends on what teams you're on. You know what I'm saying? What schools you go to. If you look back on what we were talking in 2021, that road was blocked. I think I've even said to the fact that we were passengers on this journey like anyone else. Well, the road's open now, but still under construction. Holt said there are still issues they're working through with securing college football players for use in the game, right? But our intent to work towards that and find a meaningful way to include them in the game. That's a little concerning if you're still looking for players because 2022 is about to end. That basically gives you a year and some change to get these guys because you gotta be able to give them in time to build these rosters. I mean, if you want to, I mean, the old way was fine. I think that's what killed the franchise in the first time was the guys were getting upset because the guys were in the game, but like in the old games, you could set it up where it's by number or it's like random name generated. It wasn't the actual names that got generated. It was just some fake name that got attached to all the players. Um, and you go back and look at them old games. None of them, very few of them dudes, very few of them character models look like the actual players. Let's be real. So I don't know what basis they're basing that on any kind of likeness because, like I said, the names things were randomly generated. I mean, you can go into the settings, you can go into the roster settings, and you can literally, if you wanted to, you can change it to the real name, but it's not. I mean, they never like when the random generator came on in NCAA 11. That's a game I played all the time. Who 11? Uh, I don't know. Um, Dang, I don't know. So I don't know, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I guess like okay, so 2010 NCAA 10. When the random generator came on, I doubt it said Tim Tebow when the under the quarterback's name. It had his number, but yeah, I mean that's the guy's number. You know what I'm saying? So where was he at? Right here. Same goes for schools in the game. Yeah, you would think that the school getting the schools rights is a little easier than getting every individual player. That's not going to happen. And that's another thing I was saying because then you would have to you realistically would only be paying for like one or two guys from a handful of teams. EA Sports partner with CLC to secure rights. Secure the rights to FBS schools, uniform stadiums, and other college football traditions, and will have at least 120 schools. That's that. So it's going to be basically there's not going to be no FCS. Um, yeah, there's basically going to be no FCS teams. It's going to be basically it says at least 120. So that's most of FBS. So they're going to leave out some very small FBS schools. This is really this sucks though for a lot of people because a lot of people still play and stream this game, the old games, and a lot of people would do like challenges, like take a school from like FCS, put them into the FBS, and build them up, play the dynasty thing or whatever, um, or like try to get them to the college football player with the what's it called NCAA Next, which I've seen a lot of people been playing recently. That's a scary number because even in the older games, I keep going back to the older games. The older games, they had a good portion of FCS schools in that game. Um, so that the fact that they were on at least as of right now, they only have 120, I guess. Or hopefully that'll change. Oh man. Holt said they have a host of FBS schools committed, although he would not say which of the 131 FBS schools had not signed on. Boy. Holt would not say whether Notre Dame, which had said soon after the February 2021 announcement they would not sign the game unless the players benefited from the use of their name, image, and likeness, and signed on. Yeah, but see, the problem is the problem with this. First of all, Notre Dame needs to be in the game. That's ridiculous. They're not going to be in the game. They're the one of the biggest college football programs in history. Them not being in the game makes no sense. They look, man. Yeah, you better find a way to do this. Holt also did not say what would happen if FBS school chooses to not commit to being in the game. I mean, if they're not going to commit, then you can't put them in there. Like, I don't. It is what it is, but it's like the game has secured the rights to all 10 FBS conferences in the college football playoff. So at least we'll get the college football playoff in there. Hey, you never know. By the time it comes out, it may have the 18 playoff. So that's a good sign. But yeah, if you have the rights to all 10 conferences, you should. I guess you got to do it on an individual level too. But oh man, why does it seem like the game? Why does it seem like games nowadays have less? They're built to have less and less content. Like everything's got to be like a base form, and then there's some DLC afterwards. Why can't you just put all that stuff at one time? What I'd have done is try to get the rights to everything and then make the game. If that means the game would have came out in like 2025, 2026, no one would have had no problem because at least you'd have got all the teams. That's the same. This is going back to I don't know if you guys have seen Soft Drink TV. He did a lot of sports videos, and there was one about the like 80 some features they took out of the Madden games, and that was like a few years back. But it's the same thing applied here. It's like they're trying to there's been so many changes in college football since 2013, 2014, the last game. And you would think you would try to get all that back. There's no reason why a game that are 10 years older than games now have more content. That doesn't make any sense. Like not everything. And the thing about the difference with most sports games, I think maybe NHL does it like MLB, but like the college football game, there's no pay to win. You have to play. There's none of that like stuff they do in like Madden 2K where you can buy VC. No, you got to play the game, and get good at it. Like in my opinion, I've said this before. The college football in general, to me, is a much better game than the pro game. And I've said that before. The video games were the same way. We will expect more will join, but we can only commit to what we have got in hopper right now. And we'll have more information to share as we move forward along that evolving landscape. But we'll put as many schools as we possibly can in the game. Oh, here we go. Also, would not say whether FCS schools and HBCUs will be included, other than to say again, it would be always an evolving experience. So what they're going to do, they're going to release the game. It's going to have like 120 teams. Not going to have any FCS team, HBCUs, and then they're going to make the money off the initial sale, and then like either the game afterwards, or they're going to do like a patch and put that in there. Hopefully, you better not charge for these schools. I swear. If you want to do DLC, make it actual downloadable content. Don't make it where people got to pay. Well, you shouldn't have to pay for the schools. Like, I understand there's only so many. I get there's a finite amount of schools. You can't put every college football team in the game. That's ridiculous. No one's asked for that. That's like four, because then you got to go to Division 2, Division 3, all those smaller college. I get NAIA is Division. Is that Division 2? Or that's its own thing? But you get what I'm saying. There's too many colleges in America that have football. He could put that in there, obviously, but at least give us the main. At least give us the Division 1. People forget FCS and HBCUs is Division 1. Well, a lot of HBCUs are FCS schools, which makes them Division 1. Is what I'm saying. People seem to forget about that. Holt said ESPN is working. EA Sports is working to make sure as much of the traditions and unique experiences for each school, from stadiums, uniforms, accurately included. Okay. Oh, here we go. So we got some feature. The game will feature the return of Dynasty mode. Nice, in which a player can control the school through multiple seasons, including recruiting and the transfer portal. Okay, that's actually going to be very fun. If they include that in and Road to Glory. Oh, nice. Okay, in which a player can create one player and take that player to the football. If that'll be a cool little nugget to add. Cool little thing to add to the Road to Glory, the transfer portal. Because I've always wanted to do that in the old game, like, especially I played so much Road to Glory in my life. It kind of got stale after a while, because it's like, oh man, I got to be here for 3 years, which wasn't a bad thing, because my goal was always to win the Heisman and win a championship. That's the main goal of the Road to Glory, become the best player in college football history. But yeah, sometimes it gets monotonous, because it's like, oh, I got to do 3-4 years here, 3-4 years there. I got to start a new season. Hopefully they add the recruiting. The red shirting, because that was one thing I noticed. I don't think you could actually get hurt, like legitimately hurt, in the Road to Glories. Like, you probably get hurt for like a game, like a game, or like a few quarters, but it's never like, oh, like I got hurt and I'm out for like 6-7 weeks, and then, oh, do you want a red shirt? And I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. I'll get that extra year eligibility. So it gives you more time in the Road to Glory, instead of just the normal 4 years or 3 years if you come out. He declined to get into any details on either, but he said that Dynasty mode is a priority for the red. Nice, yes. Dynasty was on top of everyone's mind, on top of everyone's list. So that's been something I think we are passionately focused on, and want to make sure that we can get that as right as possible for year one, with still fundamental elements to build on. Of course. Look, man, you announced the game in 2021, so I'm assuming you had to have some kind of groundwork in maybe like 2020, You know what I mean? Or 2019, because you had the idea that it was coming back. Um, yeah. So this is very exciting news, but there was some very how you say it, was some very um, concerning facts that were in this article. Like the amount of schools and the NIL thing with the players. Um, it's a little concerning because, like I said, this is going to affect a lot of teams. Like because this will either EA Sports going to have to give out a big amount of money to these schools and players, or they're just not going to put them. Because at some point, it's like a lot of people when it comes to negotiating, they'll try to take advantage of the situation. Oh well, if you don't pay us this amount of money, we just won't be in the game. And then like this really only really affects like the big Power Five, like big profile schools. So like say Michigan and Ohio State wanted a certain amount of money and they didn't want to pay. It wasn't stop them from pulling out of the game. So then you'd have a game with no Michigan, no Ohio State, which is like the craziest scenario you can think of. A college football game with no Ohio State, Michigan. You see what I'm saying? No Notre Dame, no Alabamas, no Clemson's. You know what I'm saying? No USC's. You know what I mean? That'd be weird. No Miami's, no Florida's, Florida State's. You know what I'm saying? And that'll really affect sales because, like I said, there are a lot. Believe it or not, people sleep on college football. There are a lot of college football fans. I don't know why people sleep on college football. They'll watch NFL, and I think a lot of people, real talk, unless you're a fan of a certain team in NFL, a lot of people will watch NFL just to bet. Let's be real, just to bet and do fantasy. They don't actually watch the sport to watch the sport. I watch the sport to watch the sport. I've done a little bit of that fantasy stuff, like with DraftKings. It's okay, but like I'll put it, I'll make a list, I'll make a lineup, and I'll look at it for like 20 minutes during the game, and I'm done. I throw my phone down and I watch the game. I just love football. I can care less about the winning on DraftKings or whatever, or FanDuel, or all that the betting and fantasy stuff. I really care less, which is kind of why I think sports is the way it is now. It's so much. The thing about sport, there was two things that there were two types of fans in sports. There was the hardcore sports fan, or the big, basically the particular the big sports fan of that particular sport. So like the big football, hockey, basketball, soccer guys, baseball guys. Either you were a big fan of the sport, you were a big fan of sports in general, or you were one of those people that just watch sports because you're around people that just were really into sports, and it was more of like a gathering thing. You didn't really care. It's kind of like this, like the Super Bowl um, mentality. I don't care about football. I just like going to parties and hanging out with people, having a good time, and watching the commercial. But there's nothing wrong with that. But at least it's I guess in my opinion, it's a little bit more of an honest way. Not honest way. I guess it's more of a, I don't know how to explain it. It's like okay, you don't really you don't really vibe with the sport. That's cool, but you want to watch it because you want to hang out. You want to just do something with your kids and your wife and your husband. You really like the football and whatever. It's something you do every week. It's like a traditional thing, but there's no real tradition when it comes to like fantasy. Fantasy is like, yeah, I guess it's something you can do with your friends, but it's like then it takes, for me, fantasy kind of takes the love of the game out of watching the game. You know what I mean? Then it becomes like, oh, I gotta get this guy has to get a certain amount of yards. Gotta catch a certain amount of passes. He's got to throw a certain amount of touchdowns. He's got to get an interception or two. Defense got to get a sack. It becomes like you're basically watching the game as like a simulation instead of actually enjoying the game for what it is. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like I said, um, and I'll be honest, the college football video games were never for casual people. Like if you play, most people that play Madden don't play college. That's just that's just I don't know if that's a fact. It sounds like a fact. I'm gonna go with it. It may be a fact, but a lot of people that love the NFL really don't care for college football. It's usually the other way around. All the guys that love college football, we love NFL too. We just love football, and which is weird because I'm like, without college football, you don't have the NFL. So you would think you'd have a little bit more of an appreciation for the game that came before the ultimate game. But yeah. Anyway, so that's the article right there. Very big news today. Um, yeah, man, we getting college football back, baby. We getting the game back. I so I'm going to start making um, gameplay stuff. I haven't. So right now. I'm just going to do like a Switch playthrough of something. I don't know what I'm going to play. What I'm going to play through. But when I can get I gotta find my old PlayStation 2 because my old PlayStation 2 is like in storage or somewhere, and I still have all my games. So once I find that, get that cleaned up and get that set up, maybe I can start doing like NCAA 11 gameplay footage, stuff like that. If not, I may just have to buy a new thing. It's a website I've been looking at for months now. Maybe about months or maybe years, maybe a couple years. I've been following on IG. It's called DK Oldies. So basically, it's an old retro. They sell a lot of old retro systems and games, and a lot of trinkets and stuff like that. Just real old video game stuff, which is kind of cool. Um, yeah, I'm actually put that. I'm gonna put the website in the description. If you like old school gaming, if you like PlayStation 2, Xbox, um, old Sega, Nintendo, Genesis, Super Nintendo stuff. Yeah, if you like all that old school stuff, I'll link the website and you check it out because it's pretty cool. And I follow them on Instagram because they do cool little videos on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you guys are excited as I am because I've been waiting for this game for 11 years now. We got two more to go, hopefully. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.